Hello, Facebook family and friends, and hello, YouTube. I am ChaCha'z here again. I'm just trying to get things going at the same time. I'm still kind of new to all this. So I have the basics to get this running. But, anyways, I wanted to come up here because I wanted to talk about something. You ever hear that term, life is what you make it? And I think sometimes people when they hear that term, they just kind of brush it off. They're just like, oh yeah, whatever, that's just a saying or whatever. But in the midst, as some of you know, what I've been going through, and let me again be clear, trials and consequences are two very different things. A consequence is when people just keep making one bad decision after another, and then there's a consequence to pay. That's not a trial. That's was brought on by a person's own decisions. But a trial, which is what's been happening with me, and there were three major ones. You done everything right, but one day all this stuff just get dumped into your lap, and that's precisely what happened. Is one day my life is calm and normal, and then the next thing I know, something gets dumped into my lap that I had no clue, and then I am, and then it just got worse, and then it got worse, and it's like, what's happening? Those are trials because when you're doing what you're supposed to, you're living responsibly, you're being responsible, you're being respectful, you're doing what you're supposed to, and then one day you just get all this junk dropped in your lap. For the believer, we know those are trials because if a person's being attacked that hard, it's for two reasons. A, because that person is serving the Lord and the enemy is just trying to knock him down. But B, it's also because, if you have a calling in your life and, you're going to share and spread the word, the enemy sees that and he's going to try to knock you down because his goal is to take as many people down with him as possible because his days are numbered and he knows that. So, in saying all this, life is what you make it. And, I really understand what that means now. It's not meaning like you can't control circumstances that happened. You can't control the things that come your way. They come your way. But life is what you make it, meaning how you choose to respond to those situations is entirely up to you. It's up to the individual. And you can either respond really negatively and get really upset, or you can say, Lord, I don't know what's happening, but I know that you're in control and you're going to continue to help me and strengthen me. And trust me, I know that's hard because trust me when I say a lot of this way, I was kicking and screaming, not literally screaming, but just not crying a lot, being upset a lot, which is normal for those people that know what's going on. I mean, these have been horrendous, just horrible things that have happened. And like I said, out of one of the three major trials, the Lord delivered me from that. And I know He's going to continue to help me along this way. And I believe my breakthrough is like that close. Like it's so close. And that's why you're facing all this, like people face all these oppositions when they're that close due to the breakthrough, So my encouragement to you guys is if you're going through something, you know what, just keep pressing forward. Keep putting one foot in front of another. Keep trusting the Lord, Just like with Peter, the Lord allowed him to walk on that water, and as long as he kept his focus and his eyes on Jesus, he was walking on water. But the minute he took his eyes off the Lord and he began to look at the waves around him is when he began to sink. And that's what these trials are. There are water, things that we're going through. And as long as we keep our eyes on the Lord Jesus, He's going to continue to help us. But we got to keep our focus on Him. We really just got to keep focusing on Him and looking to Him, for comfort, strength, and help, And when you do that, when you begin to do that, you know what? You're going to find that, the problems may not go away, but you're going to find that your life becomes more peaceful and more pleasant, because now you're not trying to solve the problem. You're putting it in the hands of the Lord and letting him deal with it, because he knows the best way to deal with it. So for me, in like the midst of all these trials, and I started going on Facebook first. It was like I was sharing what was happening and what was going on, like not specific people and details, because I don't believe in using the internet to hurt people, but just to share that you're not alone in the things that you go through, and hopefully it can be an encouragement to others, but also to show God's glory, because I know that the Lord's doing something wonderful, and he's not done yet. I know that the huge breakthrough, it's like right there. You've just got to believe it, claim it, and receive it. And that's what I choose to do. But in the midst of these, then the Lord began to develop in me more boldness to come on these lives, and recording right now for Facebook as I'm doing the live on Facebook, or recording for YouTube, but doing the live for Facebook right now, doing it at the same time. But then, I have a big passion for security, as some of you know already. And it, like I told you in my last intro video, as a young girl, I was taken, but thank God they were able to get me back before he was completely away, had me in seclusion. But I feel like these days, they're just getting more and more evil. There's just a lot more crime. And it doesn't mean like walk around the world and be afraid of everything and everyone, because that's not healthy either. But I do think we need to be alert. I do think we need to be aware of our surroundings. And we also need to know how to defend ourselves, And you don't have to be like some black belt or some high military trained person. I mean, for those people that have that training, that's great, But not all of us went that path, But you can still learn to defend yourself, So there's a YouTuber that I like to watch from time to time, and that is Clint Emerson. And something that I heard him say, which I never really thought about till he said it, which is actually a couple things that he had said that really, like, it stood out with me. That the most vulnerable time that, like, you're totally vulnerable is when you're most vulnerable is when you're sleeping, because you're asleep, and if you're a heavy sleeper, somebody can get through those doors, get through the windows, and you're not going to hear it if you're just that heavy of a sleeper. And two, if somebody does gain entry into your home, or they're harassing you on the street, you are legitimately in for the fight of your life, because people these days, they're more desperate, as inflation and just people getting greedy. So they're like going after these innocent people that are just trying to live their life. And it's like, you have to be able to like really go full throttle to protect yourself. And it doesn't mean like sit there and be a hothead and keep beating and keep beating. No, like hit them enough to get them down and run, and then call 911 and let them take over, But also one thing that he said, if you're in the home and somebody's trying to break in your home, this was interesting because I never thought about that until he said it, which was, if somebody's coming into your house to break in your home during the day, they're coming for your stuff. But if they're coming at night, they're coming for you. They're coming for the individual, which is even more scarier, because that means that that person's been scoping you, they've been watching you, they've been seeing your pattern. And that's scary, because people like that are just, they're nuts. So that's when you're really going to be in for the fight of your life. There are some people that they're comfortable with firearms. I personally am not ready to have something that lethal in my house, but I still want to be able to try to give myself the best fighting chance. But also something about a firearm, if you are going to have a firearm in your home, you better be prepared to use that firearm then, because if you're not ready to use that and then you brandish that to a would-be intruder in your home, they're going to call your bluff and they're going to take it from you, and then they may use it on you And now you just lowered your chances of making it out unscathed or worse. So for me, it's important that if I'm going to have things in my home, it needs to be things that I am prepared to use. I am to defend myself and only enough to get away. So because I live alone, I keep bells on my doors. I got triple locks, and I'm not as heavy of a sleeper, so, I'll wake up. But what I do is that I sleep on the right side of my bed because I have a queen bed. So for me, it's important to have things on my right side because my right side is my dominant side. So what I personally do is I keep a couple of my pocket knives in my next to my bed at night, and then I carry them during the day. And these are legal, totally legal. But I keep those by my bed. But also what I do is I do keep a couple of pair of like flip flops, so if I have to like run out, if I'm able to run out, I can hurry and slip my feet in there. But if somebody makes it in before I'm able to do any of that, like the first thing I have, like, and you don't have to spend money, like you don't always have money to spend because a lot of us are on budgets, but you have everyday stuff in your house that you can use as self-defense tools. So me personally, not only do I keep my knives by my bed, but I keep raid by my bed. Um, because if somebody's gonna break into my house, I'm gonna spray them in the eyes first because it's trying to get as much time as possible, giving me the opportunity to get away. But it's also going to give me a chance once I spray them because that's going to burn. They're not going to be able just to see that easy. Then it gives me a chance to grab my hammer. It's the everyday household hammer. But this can inflict pain if that's what I need to do to get away. And I always keep my cell phone with me. It's always with me. And so, if somebody's trying to break in at my house, I want to make sure to hurry and grab that phone and put it somewhere on my person. So that way, if when I run, I don't have to worry, oh, where's my phone? You got to think smart and think quick. Um, but even with the hammer, I'm not going to sit there and be a hothead and keep beating and keep beating. If I'm able to spray them, get them down with the hammer and run, that's what I'm going to do. But being a hothead, then what's going to happen? That person may have enough time to recover from that, and they're going to grab you if you're sitting there acting like a hothead and just trying to beat on them. So don't do that. Just get out, especially for us females. I feel like crimes against females are just so elevated right now, and it's scary. So, just be prepared, be alert. Doesn't mean, like I said, we have to walk around and be afraid, but we do need to be aware of our surroundings and just try to set ourselves up for the best possible situation to defend ourselves and get out, and call 911, and from there the authorities take over. But I hope these tips can help somebody in life, and I hope that they help you. Like I said, you don't have to be somebody that's been trained all these years to learn how to defend yourself, because I know I surely wasn't. But I know that if I need to, I'm able to defend myself. And just watching some of the self-defense stuff that I see online, it's like, wow, they're like such basic moves, but it can make a big difference between being able to get away or being a victim. And I much rather get away, of course. So don't sell yourself short into thinking that you just because you weren't brought up fighting or in the military or and fighting classes, self-defense classes, that you can't defend yourself. Because trust me, if that fight is on, your adrenaline will go up and you're going to end up having like the strength you didn't even know you had. And at that point you just go full throttle and get out as soon as you can. And but anyways, I hope these help you. And like I said, whatever you all are facing in life, how you respond is up to you, but it will make a difference in how your day is affected and how you go about your day. Um, but anyways, I hope you're all doing good. Have a good evening, and again, serve the Lord and be blessed. Thank you. Bye.